I think, okay, I have an opinion on this. I have friends that are hockey players, and I think improvisers and hockey players both know how to fucking party.
Does that hold up, Brendan?
I feel like
Hello and welcome. My name is Marcus.
And my name is David.
And this is So What Did You Say You Do? The podcast where we compare the job you have and the job your parents wish you had. This is episode 1.
And in this episode, we met with two groups that have been classically pitted against each other. Athletes and performers.
The Troy Boltons of the real world.
And our improvisers come from different training backgrounds, but they met and they became really good friends. They are...
My name is Samuel Madsen, and I do improv from time to time.
It's me. I'm Aaron. I'm the pubescent boy. I'm Aaron Pert, and I am an improviser, and amongst other things.
Hi, Harrison Ruckle, improv again.
And our hockey players met like how all good hockey players meet, on the ice, playing hockey. And they are...
Hey, I'm Brandon Sedlak, and my position on this is the hockey player.
Hi, I'm Nico Del Rio, and I was asleep. I'm so sorry.
As you can see, we had some difficulties getting Nico to join us for this episode. Would you care to tell the people why, David?
Yeah, so what happened was Nico Del Rio, he went to sleep, and then he slept through the interview.
Yep.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're going to have a second episode that follows all the things we discussed with Nico, and where we get to ask him, so.
What did you say you do?
Did you hear anything from Nico, Brennan?
Nothing. I don't think his phone's even on. Try calling him one more time. I think it just went straight to voicemail.
Did you wear this Jets shirt on purpose for today, or is that just...
Let's call it 50-50. It was like a comfort day, you know? It's like the comfy shirt. It works out.
Is that your team?
Oh, yeah.
I know nothing about hockey. You're going to hate me at the end of
You're my
this.
teammate now.
Were the Jets your team, like, while they were dead as well, or like once they came back, they became your team?
No, it was like, I was a Canucks fan when they did the Boston series. That was pretty tough.
Oh,
and then the next year, the great sweep happened in the first round. That just fucking pissed me off. So I decided it was time for a new team.
I had the exact same feeling. I just gave up hockey after that, though, actually.
That was the other option. Yeah, I watched, like, Jets because that was their first year coming in, and like 6 other teams. But it's like Jets underdog spirits, you know? They always fight back and keep in it, so.
It's true.
Remember the riot?
Right.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I was there.
That shit was funny.
That riot was happening no matter if we won or lost, though. That's the sad part.
I hate us. We suck so bad.
We rioted for worse things. We rioted over Guns N' Roses once.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses is worse than rioting over Canucks.
Yeah, at least we lost something, you know?
Yeah.
The other time it was just a Guns N' Roses show, you know? Yeah.
I love how Olympic athletes were in those riots and they got, like, disbarred. Like they aren't allowed to participate in the Olympics anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
The good thing about being an artist is you can be, like, almost any kind of criminal, and it's fine.
It's true. It's basically
it adds to the art.
Yeah, like, if I started, like, vandalizing things, people would be like, respect for my artist.
Like, you're Banksy, that's what you become.
Yeah.
About that whole riot was like just how quickly it escalated. Like I remember sitting in my family's basement and the first photo was a flipped over car that was on fire. Like the first one that was posted.
Yeah.
Didn't take long.
Oh, the simple things. Riots, dogs,
apparently,
riots.
It was like terrifying if you were wearing like a Boston jersey during those riots. Like people like run for their life. One might be able to argue that a riot is just a big form of improv, you know?
It's really just
accept the offer. I'm a
theater
cocktail over here.
Expression.
What do you do now?
Just a bunch of people yes-anding each other.
Oh yeah. I could start a riot. I could do it.
Yeah, but
probably.
What for? Like,
you don't need any cause. I just feel like I could
for the sake of
start it. You know, one day just start trashing shit and be like, yeah, guys. And like, you know, yell something in French, and then they'd be like, yeah.
Just say Viva anything.
People would be like, oh, is that a raccoon? And then you're like, oh no, it's a person with a cause.
Yeah.
Oh, endearing.
It's me. I'm the raccoon.
The funny thing is that the next question we were going to ask is, how did you meet the people you're here with? But unfortunately, Brendan, you don't have much to say. I mean, you can tell the story, but Nico can't add much to it.
Talk about it like he's dead.
Yeah. Give her a eulogy for Nico.
When I met the late great Nico, Gosh, what can I say about the late great Nico? We met. I was in a band with a mutual friend of ours. I think he was in a separate project with him, and then that said mutual friend brought us together. We ended up working without said friend now, and that's how we know each other. Play some hockey together now. He's got a little team going and come out for once in a while. And
Okay.
so I know Nico.
But the three of you, Harrison, Sam, and Aaron.
We met at improv camp.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, just a little camp in August. Sam's clearly not from here. He's from Saskatchewan. Not clearly, like it's not like different.
Very different from the rest of us.
God, you can tell. I mean, no, he's from Saskatchewan, and we met because we all went to improv camp. And then Sam and Harrison met before me, and then I just kind of like snuck my way into a pre-existing friendship.
No complaints.
Nice. That's the way. Did you guys
But
do
yeah.
improv before that, or was that your first time? Or
For me, yeah, I did it from grade 9 to currently, in third year university, and I couldn't afford to go to improv camp until after my grade 12 year. And so I had been doing improv for 4 years before I met these fellows.
Cool. I did improv in grade 6, but I don't really count that one because like just a bunch of kids running around doing Bear Grylls impressions. And then started in like grade 9, and that's when I think I actually started doing improv, like an actual thing, and then went to improv camp in grade 11 and then kept going.
Also started in grade 9. I only did like improv outside of improv camp for like 1 year, and then I just have gone ever since.
I feel like for hockey, you know, a lot of us get started at a young age from parents. Hearing from what you were saying about improv, it's like it all starts from a young age. But when do you think you found that like I'm good at this?
Good question. There's still days where I do improv and I'm like, can I do this? Am I good at this? I like improv because it's like low stakes, because I make it up on the spot, so people are really impressed with like what I think isn't that funny. And I think I was more confident in grade 9. Like when I started, I was like, yeah, I'm so good. I'm a cool kid. I can do anything. And then I think university, I realized the improv scene in Vancouver was bigger than I thought. And I was like, oh no, am I bad? And I don't know, I just love it. So I don't know if I'm good at it. I think I'm okay. And I just like it.
Glad to hear that you like it. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
What about you, Brendan? When do you think you realized you were good at sport?
So my experience is a little different. I played 1 year in kindergarten, and then my younger brother grew up a little bit. We both wanted to play and couldn't really afford it with one working parents. So I didn't play again until I was 19, I think. That's kind of when I started playing again. And then at that point, I was a little more free, so I started playing a lot. And I was playing like 3 days a week and training a lot. I think probably within like 6 months, I just progressed really quick from never really skating to being in 2 teams and doing a bunch of crap. And so I guess, yeah, pretty quick. It didn't take long.
It's interesting because I remember when I started playing hockey. I started playing hockey when I was 11 years old, and I played for about 5 years. And I remember my dad saying to me looking back, it's really weird, is that I was, at 11 years old, I was kind of old to be starting to play hockey, which sounds ridiculous in hindsight. But I remember like feeling like, oh man, these kids, they've been playing since they were 4 years old, which seemed like so long to me at that time. But like, you know, you can kind of jump in whenever. Like, I remember, what's his name? Bertuzzi. That was like my dad saying, like, yeah, he started playing when he was 11. You look at him, he's in the NHL. I'm like, wow, even someone that gets such a late start like that can go so far. But like,
yeah, it's crazy. Like that's ultimately my issue now too, is I haven't played as much the last couple of years, and now you get these little 18-year-olds running around you, and there's no way you can compete. But you look at guys like Alex Burrows, he was only playing roller hockey, and he got drafted from nowhere at 28, had to learn how to skate, and suddenly he's a Canuck, you know? So there's definitely weird situations where you can work it out. Yeah, I think it just comes down to time and motivation and discipline.
That's the opposite of improv. I heard Sam say grade 6, and I was like, who starts improv at grade 6? And like, I know people that didn't start until first year university, and they're like exceptional. So yeah, it's because the training isn't the same.
Is improv a gateway drug for acting, or is acting a gateway drug for improv?
I think improv's a gateway drug for acting. But then I meet a lot of actors that don't do improv, and then they're like, oh, I wish I improvised, but they never try it. It's like if you start with Coke, you're like, why should I do weed?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who said that, but I guess.
Hey, you said it. It counts.
Sam and Harrison, are you actors? I just know Aaron because we're in the BFA together.
Cool.
How about you guys?
I never acted, or like I did like a couple church plays or whatever, but like when I was really young. But like I've never done like an actual acting thing, just improv.
Church plays are the gateway drug to improv.
That is true.
Church plays are a gateway drug to a lot of things.
I did like high school theater, not really anything like serious or anything like that. I liked improv a lot more, I think, because like it's so like counter to the way that I normally think about things, because I always try, like I think things through, but in like a dumb way. Like I always feel like it protects me when it really doesn't, just to like sit and think about things for like, and like in an unhelpful sort of a weird way. In improv, like you're rewarded for failing. Like you're rewarded for making a mistake and failing like dramatically. So you know like the stakes are lower.
For those of you who've done acting and improv, do you think improv has helped you as an actor, or do you think it's done the opposite?
I think it's helped me. I've had teachers that said, Aaron, the improviser, needs to leave the room. And just because I'd get a note being like, that was awful, and I would laugh, and they'd be like, you need to take me seriously. I'm like, I'm going to take the note, but it's funny that you said I was terrible. And I think overall it's helped me, because a lot of the times shit hits the fan, and actors who don't have any experience in improv don't know what to do. They don't know what to do outside of the script, where I barely know what to do with the script, whereas like outside of the script is where I'm like, okay, let's make a mess. Let's freak out. That's exciting to me. Like when things go wrong, I find that exciting, which happens all the time in improv. So when it happens in theater, I find that it benefits me. But yeah, I think there's also, it's hindered me in the sense that like in improv, a lot of characters are like two-dimensional, which is a thing I've been working on, like giving them depth, like making them more than an archetype or a stereotype or like something you've already seen. And so when I started acting, I reverted to like, I'm a funny character now. And I just like put on a voice, do a physicality and be funny, and I never tried to be funny in improv, but I didn't know how to translate what I knew to something that was new. But I think I've gotten past that for the most part.
Yeah, what you said about when instructors want you to stay within like a certain path, I find that so true, because I find that a lot of acting classes kind of standardize, and it wasn't until I'm an actor, but I have like never done improv. It wasn't until we did Commedia dell'arte that I kind of realized that you can loosen up, and actually loosening up can help tremendously.
For those of you that don't know, Commedia dell'arte is an old form of theater from the 16th century that's popular for its math, improvised scenarios, and the advent of actresses.
It helps you make new decisions every time, because you don't get stuck in a thing. You don't memorize how you're going to say every line, you just memorize the line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, Brendan, like, because you were saying you and Nico both are into music. I'm curious, like, how has hockey, like in that, like the things you've learned through playing hockey, influenced the way you play music or approach music at all?
Yeah, kind of. I think like probably just like attitude and confidence wise.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-hockey, I could have never fronted a band or sang or done any of that crap. Now I have, I won't say no problem doing that, but a lot more confidence doing it. It's what I do now. So I don't think without hockey I could be doing that.
What do you think it was in hockey that like gave you that confidence?
A lot of weight loss certainly helped. Yeah, I don't know. I guess just like, I don't know. I think like confidence in your abilities in one thing can transcend to whatever else you're doing, right? Like confidence is confidence no matter where it stems from.
What kind of music do you make, Brendan?
It's like grunge.
Punk. Oh, nice. Cool.
90s revival a little bit.
I think the hockey probably is what like gives you guys that punch in personality. Because I couldn't make grunge music. I grew up a dancer. Like, what am I going to do? But I'm like, yeah, you're a hockey player. You can make grunge music. Absolutely.
What do you think the improv or music genre is?
Like parody or children's.
like Weird Al, just like all of that.
Yeah, like that or like songs for children. I think that's the only thing I would be suited for.
Impersonating Bjork in a dumpster. Like, I don't know. It's like,
or like that like Swedish techno.
I would just like
that's the third option.
One thing I'm curious about is when you decided to go into improv or hockey, like what were your parents' reactions? Because I feel like if we were to look at like your classic movies, your Troy Boltons, they I think parents go and want it's either they hate it or they love it.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, my parents were like, "Thank God we won't have to listen to her anymore." Like they finally had an outlet to just be la 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 at. And I think my parents knew from a young age that I was going to end up doing performing arts.
Right.
And
they were cool with that?
They were cool with it because I think they think I'm good at it. I think if I was terrible, they'd be like, "Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't even no." I think my parents would have like just sat me down and said, "This isn't for you," if I tried to do it, and they didn't think I had some chance at it. So it's reassuring a little bit, but they know fuck all about the arts, so who knows?
Yeah.
Harrison, do your parents go and see you improvise?
Yeah, they have before. I think like they about the last question. They were cool about it because I started doing stand up when I was 14. So like the damage was done.
Oh, nice.
Like they had already done me do stuff. And
did you do stand up in like gigs, or was it like something that you would do at high school?
Both. There's a bar that's like right in my house, and like it's been around in the neighborhood forever, and it's been like people have been doing stand up and like flamenco stuff there for years.
Right.
And so I had like the owner's number on my phone, and I would call him like 10 minutes before the show because I had like psyched myself up to do it, and I was like, "Can I come?" And he'd be like, "Okay, come in." So I would go in, and he would like bring me through the back, so there wasn't a 14-year-old walking into a bar, and then I would do my set and then leave. Yeah, no, it was, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
What kind of reactions would you get when you being a 14-year-old stepping onto a stage in a bar?
I think it contributed to the effect.
It was just one big joke for the whole thing.
Yeah. My favorites were the nights when like every once in a while there would be like a closed show. So it was just like there were like 5 people who had been drunk in that room since like 2 p.m. and they like nobody else was there, and they like had grown to like dimly recognize me like when I would come in and like do the occasional show.
Oh, that 14-year-old in the bar.
Yeah. It was like none of them knew my names, of course, but like it was pretty funny. Like they didn't even have to hear what I was saying. I think it was just the situation.
Just like yeah.
Like when I walk into a bar, they're like, "That 14-year-old." That's all they say.
For those of you who at home who cannot see,
I look like a prepubescent boy. Your young cousin, your like little cousin that like is a shit show. That's me.
Yeah. How long did you do the stand-up thing for? Like in those bars, or do you still do them?
Not as much anymore. I did it until I was like from like 14 to 60, and I was doing it pretty regularly, and then I took a break for a decent amount of time until I was in Halifax again because I went to school there, and then I would do it there. So I've been doing it for a while.
Considering that both these things we're talking about are very much team sports, when do you find that there's moments for you to like shine as an individual?
Like in life, or while doing improv?
Could be both.
I think this is one thing. I think hockey's probably similar, but I find that people do their best when their whole team is supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
When like everyone's focused on helping other people and not themselves.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about hockey, but I do know that there's like sometimes there's those players that are like, "I need to get the goal. It needs to be me." And then that doesn't work out for anyone. It's the same thing where like when people are like, "I need to get the laughs. It needs to be about me." Everything falls apart.
Yeah.
How does that hold up, Brendan?
Yeah, I'd pretty much say the same thing. You can't really do much. You got a hot dog or two on your team. You got to be there to play together.
Yeah.
Is there a moment when the three of you were improvising when maybe one of you got the other's backs?
A specific example? I feel like I picked these two because they always got my back.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there were countless times where one of us came up with a crazy idea and there were other people on the sidelines, but I know that Sam and Harrison will be like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
It's comforting to know sometimes that like you can say something insane that does not land, and then you can look really, really panicked to any of the people who are on stage with absolute fear in your eyes, and they'll step in and somehow make it funny. Like if you can't do something, somebody else will manage to do it. Because I think like me, Sam, and Aaron have like very different comedic voices, but I feel like it's one of the few environments where they all get to compliment each other in like a really sort of unorganized but interesting way.
Yeah, just with like improv in general, when you go up on stage, there's just like when you put yourself out there, there's always that trust that someone will come in and help you. I think that's basically what just Harrison said.
Beautiful. I'm so glad we're all in agreement.
Sorry, I do have a question. How do you guys feel about people you know watching you do either improv or hockey? I hate it. I can't do it. My friends in Halifax did not know I did improv until second year of university because I was doing like immediately. Like it's weird. Like as soon as I know someone in the audience, like it immediately throws me off. I
don't know if I've ever done improv without someone I know watching. I kind of Sam and Harrison know this, but I like black out when I improv. So I'm like thinking so little that I don't remember anything. I'll remember certain moments, like if I am waiting for someone to notice me and I like go through like 5 packs of fake cigarettes on stage, just waiting for them to notice me. Those things I remember. The stupid shit I remember. But like I don't notice the audience, which is kind of self-indulgent. Like I'm kind of just like, oh, I'm just doing my thing. And if they like it, they like it. But yeah, for me, I don't know. But I've also been performing since I was 3.
What did you do when you were 3?
I started dancing. I did ballet at a community center, so I probably just like hopped around when I was 3. But yeah, I started dance and then segued into improv and performance.
It's really interesting, like that relationship with an audience, especially like comparing theater and hockey. Because for me, when I played hockey, the audience really wasn't much of a factor. I mean, I only played from like pretty much my teen years, and like it'd only be like parents, and I always thought these parents were way overboard with how much they cared. Maybe cared is the right word for it. But like I remember, I have a distinct memory of some like really overzealous dad, like, and we were like, I don't know, we were 11, and this dad, he was so aggressive with how he wanted us to play, and he's just sitting there in the stands, he's just yelling, body, use the body. And I'm like, well, what's your deal, man? We're 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds maybe at the most, and you want us to be hitting each other like we're professional NHL players and potentially giving ourselves concussions, all because what? You had a dream of being in the NHL when you were a kid, now you're living vicariously through your son? Like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But that's just me.
Yeah, I can see that from your standpoint, because I mean, hockey parents are definitely psychotic. You see the videos all the time, and they're breaking glass at the rinks, refs punching refs. I mean, you want to see a crazy dad go to the nosebleeds in the Canucks game. You'll see crazy dads everywhere.
They caused the riots.
But for me, I played more from a beer league stance rather than like youth. So rather than having crazy parents at the games, like taking contrasts from the games where nobody shows up because it's just beer league to you get to playoff season, you got even a crowd of 10 or 15 people. For me, that makes a huge difference. I'd way rather play in front of people than, even if it's 10 people, I'd rather play in front of them than nobody. Just because their little oohs and ahs when you hit someone on the boards can give you that extra push. You can't get that in an empty rink.
What's the smallest crowd that any of you have ever performed or played a sport to?
I had to do an improv set to 5 people whose second language was English.
Oh.
And it was in English, and that was the worst thing. You know what? It does matter if you have an audience. I take it back. I said I don't care. But now that you bring that up, it's like fuel when there's like a presence. I mean, also in practice when there's no audience is better than that performance because they didn't get it. So we knew people were watching, and we heard no laughs. The whole time. So that, yeah,
like I've been to a fair amount of improv shows and I've seen them with quiet crowds and loud crowds, and there's there's absolutely difference on both sides of it, I think.
I remember there's this like unofficial rule is like if the cast can beat the audience in a fight, you're not supposed to go on stage. Do you believe that's true?
Especially as a hockey player, yeah.
I kind of like it when there's like not that many people around. It is worse, but there's like it has a little bit of a charm to it. Like in Complex, there was a show where like I got to the place and it was like in the back of a board game cafe. Like the only thing that was separating it from like people playing Catan was a curtain. Like so I walked in there, and I was like, God, I must be like early. And then I looked and I was like 3 minutes late for the show that I and there were 3 people sitting in like all the front row, and they all turned to look at me. And so I walk up there and I'm like, oh, like, well, at least, you know, like we attracted a little bit of a crowd. And the rest of the people were like, those are our moms. So I kind of like those shows because like 10 minutes into performing, everybody in that room is operating like they've had like 3 days of no sleep. Like you get delirious really fast, which is kind of fun.
Wow. No. And they're moms. Moms only laugh so much.
I find it really interesting when like you get those small crowds, because I know as someone who's like worked backstage, kind of overheard actors, you know, being like, oh man, there's only like 1 or 2 people out there. They kind of lower the quality of the show. Is something I've seen, and like I'm curious how, as performers, do you think that's something that, you know, is a valid thing to do, or like?
I think it's okay to operate a little bit differently, because I think, you know, like it's one thing.
No.
No, I don't mean like don't care about it, but like, you know, like the way, like whether it was stand-up or improv, like if there's like 3 people in the audience, I think it's still fun, but it's a different kind of fun. Like it becomes a joke almost like in and of itself that there's like 2 people in the room to look at you, and you're supposed to pretend that the audience isn't there, but it's like
yeah, I think with fewer people you have to pick up the pace. I don't think you should be like, wow, this sucks, so I might as well suck. That's stupid. That's just, why would you do that? But yeah, I think you don't wait for laughs. You don't wait for things to land, because if it's 3 people, there's not enough ruckus in the audience for people not to hear you. Like I know in acting, there's certain lines that people will be like, slow down there so they hear what you're saying. But sometimes when you do that with a small audience, waiting for them to react, when it's 3 people, they're likely not going to react because everyone's going to hear me. Yeah. The audience gets self-conscious. When there's a lot of people, they're likely to react and laugh over your next line if you don't take a pause. So I think there's an adjustment, but I don't think you should worsen the quality of your performance.
I think it's just like easier not be as energized when there's not much of a reaction, you know? So then you're like, okay, well, what's the point in like going full out if it's not going to get any laughs? I feel like that's why it's easier, but I also agree that you should try to put on the best show possible.
And for hockey, like my question is like, is the winning and losing enough motivation to like circumvent the audience? Like, do you not need an audience? Because like performing, you usually do it for an audience.
Hockey's different. Like hockey, okay, personally, I feel like I play just as hard every game, no matter how many people are or aren't there. But like having that crowd still gives you that extra. Like you can't. I don't know how to find the extra in yourself that would like equate to having a massive crowd like cheering you on, or any crowd really. Like it's just, I don't know, it's more. I don't know how to like.
I saw a documentary and they were trying to like compare performances from when people do it for an audience, like in the Olympics, to no audience, and people were doing significantly worse. And they're like, it was just the audience that was the difference, like the cheering and that extra pump of adrenaline that you can't really create yourself. I guess if you like injected yourself with adrenaline, but I'm not a scientist.
I feel like worse isn't a fair word to use.
Yeah,
like,
different.
I don't feel anyone plays any less hard with nobody around. There's just, you can play 100%, but a crowd can give you an extra 50 without you know.
Yeah, I guess with hockey, worse is a little bit harder to define. These were runners in the documentary.
Call it baseline.
Oh, okay.
Call it baseline play.
I'm learning new shit by the second. I know zilch.
That's what I'm here for.
The Women's Wrestling League is still putting on shows.
Interesting.
But it's to no audience, but they still do the like hype up things.
walk through the alley and just like high five nobody.
Yeah. It's pretty
Wow.
crazy.
I'm curious, has there been a time where the audience has turned against you, you feel, and like that, like they've sort of taken that energy away from you?
Not really. I mean, I feed on that. If I'm getting booed, I love it.
Mm.
I'll still play harder.
Makes you want to win more.
Just more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite for acting or improv. Like, if you don't feel like the audience is doing it, you're like, why am I doing this?
Mhm.
Or if you've done, well, for improv, it's not as repeatable, but for like anything else, if the audience doesn't seem to like it as much as other nights, I find that a lot of people are like, oh no, were we not good? No one laughed at this line the other day. Like, they get all these ideas of when it's good, and then they think it's suddenly bad. Yeah, like, I think it's the same with improv. If you're with a team and you do really well, and then you do another night and it doesn't go so well, people are like, what did we do? What was wrong with us? And sometimes it's just the audience.
I feel like there could be a different pressure though, because if you're not getting laughed at improv, it's like people not finding you funny, right? Whereas hockey, if people aren't giving it to you, you're just not playing hockey hard enough. You just got to play hockey a little harder. I feel like it's less
harder
stress.
to make yourself funnier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, in the moment. Like, if people are like, boo, what are you going to do? Just, like, become funnier? Like,
Just talk louder. That's that'll solve all.
yeah, just start yelling over them.
Yeah.
Whereas hockey, it's like, I'll show you.
There's also the inverse of sometimes I find in improv and in acting, when somebody gets a laugh, they'll do the same joke, but just a little bit louder, especially in acting, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when an audience feeds you, it's not necessarily a good thing.
I
Like, you
think
just have to
people-
take it the best way.
Like, take it and forget it, because some people will be like, oh, this line was so funny to 5 people yesterday, and they'll be like, and then the cow jumped over the fence the next day, and no one will laugh, and they're like, what do you mean? And then they really emphasized it, and they just look like
Yeah.
idiots.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever been heckled as a performer?
I wish. I think I would respond well to heckling, maybe because of my upbringing.
Okay.
Like, oh, that sounds bad. My father's Russian, and he just kind of like tough loves the whole thing. So I'll be like, Dad, do I need to take out the garbage? He's like, or just jump in it where you belong. And I'll walk away, like, for no reason. So I think I'd thrive under heckling.
Fair enough.
I've only ever seen heckling one time, and it was at a stand-up show I was at in the same bar, and there was like this guy on stage. He was this Australian guy, and there was one guy who had gotten pretty drunk, and he was just and I think it was like he was making jokes to his friends on the side really loudly, and then he started trying to like hail it at the Australian guy, but it got shut down really quickly because the guy was in the middle of a set, and I can't even remember what the heckler said, but he said something, and then the Australian guy was like, "Dart," and then it was silent. and
Wow.
it was pretty quick.
I think we should bring
Wow.
heckling back. We should.
No? Did it
we
leave
should.
somewhere?
I mean, I was just thinking about like Shakespeare and like how in the Globe, when it was originally performed, people would heckle all the time
Mm.
from the ground, and the actors would just have to roll with it. And now we kind of went into this weird upright formal self in the theater.
Well, I have 2 things to say about that. One, I think a lot of performers were bullied as children and then became funny out of that. Like, I think I'm funny because I got bullied, among other things. But so we're now more equipped to deal with it because we've only gotten funnier. So heckling, like, that's hilarious. What a beautiful moment that wouldn't have happened if that guy didn't heckle him. But I also think that's why Commedia dell'arte is so hard for a lot of people. Because it's like you interact with the audience, but it's also theater. So there is a script still. Like with improv, if an audience member, like, phones goes off. I said that wrong. Phone goes off, then you can adjust because there's no set narrative. Whereas like in Commedia, it's that weird in between zone where like you have a story you still have to tell, but the audience could say anything to you when you ask it.
Right.
But I do think we should bring heckling back. Final answer.
It's interesting too because I like watching stand-up routines. I feel like heckling can sometimes be like one of the most amazing parts of watching a routine is just seeing how someone handles a heckler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's interesting because you can't really, prepare for it. It's like, oh, if someone says something, I'll say exactly this. You just have to like live in the moment and be like, just destroy the person.
Improv, baby.
Exactly.
I do think that like with I do like that there's like the fourth wall in improv is really like mutable. Like if somebody like coughs weird in the audience, you can like make the scene about like it's you can take it in a bunch of different directions. So there is like more like, you know, like there's like a set element of audience participation where, you know, like you get like somebody tells you where it's supposed to happen or whatever, like you ask them for. But it doesn't have to end there, and a lot of the time it doesn't. Like it just you keep building off of like the weird things that people are doing in the audience around you. Like in that weird show in Halifax where it was like the three moms in the front row, they were part of that show. They were like they were in it.
I'm so fascinated with like the audience relationship in these two things, because like I feel like sports fans feel like they're a part of it, but like they are in a sense, but I think it's in a more improv world, like literally call on the audience and make it a part of the show, because like, where are we? You're in a mall, you know, like something like that. And it's interesting. Like I'm sure we've all been audience members to these respective things. Did you find like how you are as an audience member, like watching hockey or watching an improv show?
I think I'm a great audience member. That it's just because I laugh really loudly, and I think it's just because I know what I want when I like. If I'm an improviser, you want people to say things, but not stupid things. Like there's always drunk people at shows where you say, "Where does this take place?" and someone's like, "Bar mitzvah," and you're like, "That's not funny." After the 8th time, whereas I don't yell that. So, but I've never watched hockey, so I wouldn't know. Like in terms of me watching hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You put me in a hockey crowd, I'm definitely a heckler. I've got no problem sitting behind the Canucks goal net and yelling Markstrom's a bum. You know, that's what I live for.
Would you sit like near the penalty box and like really
Close as I can get.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I'd argue that you, as an audience member, heckling is theater.
Oh, it is.
You just
Well, I guess like the you know, those green guys we had here in Vancouver forever ago.
Yeah.
Like they were like straight up clowns. Like that was like the guys in the morph suits. You know, like they were. Like that's pretty like much like theater mask work, but like your whole body.
Right.
That was Brennan. He was all of them.
Figure out.
Yeah.
It's me and Nico. That's why he's not here. He knew it'd come out.
You guys watch the like documentary that they did about those guys? It's
a documentary. Wow.
Like 20 minutes long. It's on YouTube, but it's just them like being interviewed while they're in suits, like about what they do.
Does anybody know what their true identities are?
No.
I'm pretty sure it's out. I think you can find it now.
Do they speak in the documentary?
Yeah, they do. And there's
the morphs. Oh man.
I have a question. Now that we're on sports and like theater, is TheatreSports a sport?
I mean, I break a sweat, but I don't think so. Like,
no.
I don't know. I think
it's two teams against each other.
Yeah, I think you could call it a sport. I was thinking about this earlier, and I looked up the definition of it. And a sport is defined as physical activity or some crap that requires physical exertion. And while not every improv show has that, I think there's room for it. So I don't think it's unfair to call it a sport. I think it's weird.
I think it's weird to get rid of theater and just be like, oh, I'm going to go play some sports tonight and improvise. Like,
don't say that.
Like, that would be weird, though I might start doing it. No, you know what? It's a very in-body experience. Like, you're very much like, the more you are in your head, the worse it is, which is the same thing as sport. And a lot of improv can be competitive, and you practice like a sport.
I mean, a game show is competitive, and that's not a sport.
Does improv have a Stanley Cup? Is there a coveted?
No, we also
prize?
don't. We also can't charge more than like $20 for tickets. So, whereas hockey, my dad was telling me about this. He was like, "God, hockey's so much more higher regarded. Like, you can charge like thousands of dollars for a hockey ticket. You can get a scholarship for a school because of hockey. No one's doing that shit for improv. No one's like, hey, you're funny. Here's a full ride scholarship.
What's the road to get there to a full ride improv scholarship?
You don't. You don't even get a full ride job with improv. Unless you're like Colin Mochrie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Colin Mochrie. Yeah, whatever.
He's from Vancouver.
He is. He went to studio.
Whoa.
58, and Wendy Gordon brings him up all the time.
I bet.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Out of
I know he
dropped out. but
Wow.
they
I
still
see.
like. He's like, this is our humble graduate.
Because they have like 10, 15 alumni that they mention all the time, and
Mhm.
I haven't heard his name.
Because he's not actually an alumni, because he didn't finish.
Yeah, exactly.
There is like a certain like there's like a dangerous feeling when you're watching improv, and maybe it's like just a projection because I did improv before I started like watching it. But every time I go, I'm like sweating the whole time because I'm so afraid that like, and you know, it's the same thing as being on stage. I'm so afraid that somebody's going to say something they're going to immediately regret, and then when they don't, and it's funny, there's like an immediate like adrenaline fueled like reward endorphin in your brain. So it is sort of like a weird like vicarious thrill, like I guess, with watching sports, something like that.
What's the dumbest sport? Just any sport. What's the dumbest one?
Okay, you know that one that they do in backyards with that like weird bonky thing where they bonk the balls through
Croquet?
Croquet. What the fuck is up with that?
Actually, I guess
Rich
what's
people
more
golf.
of a sport, improv or croquet?
Improv. I've never broke a sweat playing fucking croquet. My adrenaline doesn't get pumping. I don't need an audience. Who watches croquet?
I think it's a tie between badminton and frisbee golf.
Mm.
Sorry
What
if anyone
the
gets
fuck
triggered.
is
Yeah, there it is.
Frisbee
Is the
golf?
stupidest sport.
Frisbee
yeah.
golf? I have to look that shit up.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
man,
it's like
dude.
it's kind of like a golf course setup, but you have these like chain bins. They're kind of like this, and you got to throw
Mhm.
the frisbee like it's
Golf
golf.
wasn't bad enough.
No, it wasn't. They had
Do it
to.
with
They had to do
frisbees.
this. Everyone loves it. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
Wow, I'm in agreement.
It's funny too, like all these sports you keep bringing up, I don't think anyone comes to watch them. Like that's the interesting thing, you know?
Oh,
I know a ton of people, or not a ton of people, but I know that there's a big following for chess boxing.
What?
chess?
What's chess boxing?
It's exactly what it sounds. So it's basically
No.
boxers, and in between rounds, they continue their chess game, and if one of them checkmates, then the game is over. But that almost never happens. So they
Because
just
they're wrestlers.
Wow.
They're boxers.
yeah.
They're probably
so
not
they
very
just
good at
box.
Wow.
Also,
That's-
if you get the shit beaten out of you, it's kind of hard to play chess.
Yeah.
I think
really
that might be
think-
my favorite sport now. Honestly.
Yeah, that's not dumb. I said scam.
I thought it was going to be like every time you take a piece, you get to punch the other person.
Took your rook.
The dumbest sport I think is also my favorite one to watch, which is curling.
Mm.
Just because you have to like freeze completely solid while like gliding 90 miles per hour along like ice.
It's interesting because I've seen curling live. I've like back in the 2010 Olympics. I
Mhm.
went to go watch it with my family, and like when you're there, it's hype. Like it's amazing. You're like, yeah, go, 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 and then but like you know, watching it on TV.
It's like
Yeah,
watching
whatever.
pre-recorded improv. It does not land the same.
Mm.
Curling is the improv of sport.
Oh, we found it. We got-
We found it.
Yeah.
Thank
How
God
would
it's
you-
not croquet.
How would you agree with this statement? Hockey is better to watch live, and basketball is better to watch on TV.
yeah.
I've never watched either live. No, I watch hockey live. I like watching. I'm in basketball. I watch basketball live. I used to play basketball, so I know what's happening. So I like both better. I don't know the rules of hockey, and I get sad about the fact that I can't figure out how to skate.
Mm.
So I don't.
You want those plastic chairs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Granny
yeah,
card.
still. And then people are like, "Hey, can I have that for my child?" And I'm like, "Fuck you! I can't skate."
This response is only based off of like what I have seen from like looking at watching my dad watch sports. But it's like on the TV whenever it's basketball, there's like action shots, like it's weird, like it's filmed like an action movie, like it's tracking the players. But with
Mhm.
hockey, it's like one giant like eye in the center of the stadium, and all of the figures are like tiny. So yeah, I guess, yeah.
The cinematography is what decided his answer.
Mm-hmm.
A true artist.
Wow. Are you a film buff?
God, no. I don't know nothing.
Are you a buff of any kind?
He's fucking huge.
he is buff. That's what it is.
I have a really embarrassingly extensive knowledge of podcasts. The worst for like this is
what we're doing right now?
Have you got any tips?
You want to shit on that right now?
Yeah, come on. Tell us bad
That sounds
podcast.
bad,
It's our
Harrison.
This is
first
what this is
episode,
about,
Harrison.
actually.
Let it go. Let it go.
Come on. No comment?
no, this is thrilling for me.
What's your favorite podcast?
God, Alice Isn't Dead.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, now that we're on this, we kind of talked a lot about like you guys as hockey players and as improvisers. What else are you guys that people should know about?
I'm nothing outside of performance. I wish I was joking. I don't even know. I thought about this question, David. I honestly did. And my life is so much performance that when I'm not improvising, I'm acting or I'm dancing, or I think even my life is performative. I don't know. Sam and Harrison can second this probably, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I feel like I'm in a TV show. Like, I don't know. Are there cameras? Like, I'm constantly on. What are they gonna?
You have the Truman Show syndrome.
Yes, yes. I don't know. Other than that, I don't have a job anymore, so I don't even have that.
Don't we all?
Thanks, pandemic. Fuck you. So yeah, that's my answer. I'm nothing.
All right.
How about you, Sam?
Just like I'm trying to learn bass and drums right now. That's kind of what I got going on. Other than that, I don't really know. You know, I'm in school. I'm in chemical engineering.
That's not improv.
That's not improv. Not even close. I wish
Were
it
your parents
was.
happy about that?
Yeah. That's what they would like want me to do too. So cool. I
Nice.
guess. Yeah.
How about you, Brendan? You got a side hustle?
I guess, yeah, for me it would be the main hustle, which is the band. But that's really about it, you know. Got the band going with the late great Nico.
Late.
In memoriam.
Emphasis on late.
Harrison, what's your side hustle?
Oh God. I really this is like the only excuse that I give myself to socialize. I don't do anything else. I sit in my room. That's pretty much it. I'm studying anthropology in school, so my parents are thrilled. And can't even explain what it is. But yeah, no. That's my life.
Is it better to have an improviser as a friend or a hockey player?
I have more improvisers for friends,
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm so
But
scared
is
to
it
answer.
better? The quantity doesn't.
what do you mean by better? Like more fun, or
It's up to you.
That's a loaded
More
question. man.
loyal, more...
I think, okay, I have an opinion on this. I have friends that are hockey players, and I think improvisers and hockey players both know how to fucking party. I have a friend in my program, in my acting program, Kirsten, and she grew up as a hockey player, and I'm an improviser, and she and I go wild at parties, and it's like the same energy, and I've never gotten that from anyone else other than an improviser. I don't know. How you party, guys?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's about the same, really, in party context.
In
But we're
everyday
not
context,
exactly the
not so
same.
much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you get more reliability out of a hockey player, maybe, but that's more because I'm used to playing around beer leaguers who are usually like have kids or their careers and they're reliable for.
I kind of agree. I don't know any improvisers who even have children.
Yeah, or like, yeah.
Like, we can't handle responsibility. That's why we don't read scripts. We just make up things and then 10 minutes later forget about it.
I think there very much is like that sort of standard in the entertainment world that like you kind of have to, it's always that joke. It's like the singles game, that people don't have families. People are just like, it's kind of what you do when you're in entertainment. It's like entertainment's your life.
It also just like, there's so much hustle involved. Like, not for hockey, there obviously is too. But like I was saying before, there's more of a fan base and a support. People pay for hockey, watch hockey, whereas like improv, like it's hard to even charge like $10 a ticket, and it's hard to get a venue to perform at, and there's so many of us and so little funding for it. Like, so yeah, there are like, I think there's negative stereotypes for both improvisers and hockey players.
But I do find that comparison too with like the musician side, and I definitely find myself in between on the fence with how reliable I can be versus being, like you guys say, trying to be the single life and pushing your shit.
Yeah.
Which do you think is harder overall, hockey or improv?
Hockey. Well, I can't
Hockey.
fucking skate.
I can't do hockey. What are you talking about? Like,
Can't improvise though. I can't think fast enough because I got too many
You don't
hockey
have to think.
concussions stopping me. I can't think.
That's the thing. Don't
I've been hit
think.
too many damn times. I can't do what you do. I'd love to. Can't do it.
I think you're fitting in great. I think.
I think anybody could do improv if they like gave it a shot, because I think it is just like a set of skills and sort of just like learning how to like laugh at yourself. But I tried to play hockey as a child for years and I still can't even skate. Like it's no.
Oh, we both can't skate. That's so cute.
I also can't skate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Found the best. All right.
Oh, and we're all Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every one of us.
I can skate.
You skate,
Yeah.
David? You're the tiebreaker here.
I
Come
can
on.
skate.
Yeah.
Like not well, but like I can skate.
Yeah, my
As soon as we
parents-
wrap this up, we're taking the other 3 out. We're teaching them.
Yeah, there we go.
I would love to
Burnaby Lake's open. Let's go.
try.
Would you say that the thing that makes hockey quote unquote harder is just that threshold of learning to skate? Like if say you knew how to skate, would you be able to think, oh yeah, hockey's fine, I can do it?
No, I'm 5'2" and weigh 120 pounds. I'd get annihilated, just absolutely destroyed.
What if we took out the fact that hockey was a contact sport?
Yeah.
I think I would be best in the box, yelling out heckles. I think that's where I would be best used on a team. I'd be no use on the ice, unless
In a
you
green
like pick me
suit.
up and throw me at someone. I think the thing with hockey is your body's engaged. You have to have a certain physical like understanding of it, and it's a mental mindset as well. Like you have to understand how the game works and like predict other people. Whereas with improv, you don't. If you don't want to, you don't really have to use your body.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
some people aren't physical improvisers. I am, but like I know Harrison and Sam aren't as crazy physical every single second of the day as I am, and it's just your brain.
Mhm.
Like really,
Yeah.
it comes down to a mindset. It's not like a physical set of skills you take years to learn.
Hmm.
I would say coming from a beer league position again and seeing like just some of the worst out there, my boys, I'll tell you, there's some bad ones out there. I think what hockey really comes down to is if you watch just a bit and get some hockey sense down, or at least can listen to someone else tell you where to go if you don't know what you're doing, and you can learn to skate, you can play hockey. Skating is probably the ultimate thing at the end of the day.
Mhm.
If you can just get skating down, then you can definitely play hockey. The physical side's pretty irrelevant. It's pretty easy to stay out of the way. If you can keep a stick on the ice and skate, you can get somewhere.
Do you think there's kind of like a little bit of an aggressive mindset, and not like a mean, but like that you have to have like a certain aggression to do it? Because even if you factor out the fact that like I can't skate beyond like gliding Christ pose and like a straight like I still like I feel like I still can do I'm like a big emu. Like I can't there's no aggression going on whatsoever. I couldn't pull it off. But like
I mean, beer league might not be the best time for you, but I mean, you find friendly drop-ins a lot of time, especially living in Vancouver. We've got an app for it. There's always hockey. There's beginner games everywhere. There's people just get together and do power skating lessons and teach you the basics. There's a will. There's definitely a way.
All right, who said this quote? Do hockey players like watching improv? Because I sure as hell do not like watching hockey.
It's someone within this group.
Any
So,
guesses?
I trusted you, David, because I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know what's going on. I feel like improv is accessible. You can watch it as long as you understand the language, kind of. You're like, cool. And even if you don't understand the language, like if it's a physicality, sometimes it's still funny. Whereas I watch hockey and I'm like, what is happening? People are body checking each other. They're like, penalty. And I'm like, but why? Yeah, I said that. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
What do you think of that? There's a like classic meme going around right now. It's like cosplay and people dressing up in sports jerseys are like the same thing, and no one's ready to have that conversation yet.
I hate that. I think the whole thing's ridiculous. I think if you you're wearing a jersey to support and promote your team. It's not. It's the same thing as cosplay. Cosplay is, I don't think it's as accepted. You can't. There's not a cosplay event every 2 or 3 days you go to. Like it's different.
I think there's the same, like there's an appreciation for both. Like when you cosplay someone, there's that appreciation for it. And when you wear a jersey, there's that appreciation for it. But I wouldn't call wearing just a jersey cosplay. Like you gotta try a little bit harder than that.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Have
there's
you
people that like
seen
face
cosplay?
paint and like do the crazy wigs and like have.
Right.
It's like
Honestly-
wearing a band T-shirt, It's just like you're supporting the band. You're not pretending you're part of the band.
Yeah.
Mm,
I don't think it's cosplaying.
There is that interesting line though with like extreme sports fan is like like the classic guy that's like we like they refer to the team as we like a real like big Canucks fan. It's like, oh, we just didn't play that well this time, like but you just watched it on your couch.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I always refer to the Jets as we. Anytime I talk about them as we, because I feel like I know I'm not part of the team, but I'm like a part of that fan base. I'm a part of that organization in a way. Because I think the fans are part of your organization. If you don't have fans, you don't have a team.
Yeah.
So.
No, I like it. I like the we. I wish people talked about like improv, like the we.
That's so interesting.
That'd be so cute.
We kind of touched on how improv is so like accessible to everyone, and then sports, it's kind of more niche, and yet it's still not as widespread.
Yeah, maybe it just doesn't feel accessible because I just don't understand it. But there is more. I think there's more community in hockey. And I think also just like it's been around longer. I guess improv's been around, but it's been like around in mainstream longer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely a sense of community. I was joking about the riot earlier, but like no one's gonna riot over a bad improv show. No one cares that much. But like imagine caring so much about a team losing and feeling so a part of it that you destroy a fucking city.
Who do you think society values higher, improvers or hockey players?
Hockey players.
But I don't think that's about it being hockey. I think sports are like in our blood. It's as old as time. Improv
Especially in
something we've been
Canada.
developing. I mean, improv and comedy is old as hell too. But I mean, sports have always been our human way of connecting. And if you can't dance, you play sports, I think.
Yeah, I think hockey has that sense of community and like that sense of culture.
Right.
Like it feels like a part of our culture. Whereas improv, I think this happens just a lot with the arts. Whereas like performance is more inherently ingrained in a lot of cultures, but not like North American culture.
Right.
It just kind of is a thing we view and forget that we view. Like people don't support the arts and then watch Netflix all day. Like that's exactly what it is. Like so there's this kind of disconnect of appreciation with arts.
I think the big thing I find is that like art is kind of its own culture, while sports has been able to like be like the like everyone's culture. Like
The people.
you can go walk into a bar and you're never gonna see an improv show playing on the TV, but you can guarantee that like all 7 TVs is playing like a different sport.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Should we go on to the rapid fire questions, Marcus?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. So what we're gonna do is the first thing that comes to your head. We'll go one by one for each person.
Don't overthink it. It's the moral of the story.
I'm so good at not thinking.
Okay, Aaron, let's start with you. After quarantine, you're going to travel to.
Nowhere. Well, actually, France.
If you were a character on The Office, you'd be.
Probably Dwight.
Your weapon of choice during the zombie apocalypse is.
Oh, I don't know. Like a gun? My hands, my bare fists. my sheer will to survive.
Your first job was.
I worked at Tim Hortons. I was their slave.
Being able to fly or being able to be invisible.
Fly.
Chocolate or vanilla.
Chocolate.
Waffles or pancake.
Pancakes. That's it.
Yeah.
You want to know my biggest fear? What's next? Come on. Give me something.
What's your biggest fear?
Losing everyone I love. Next question.
Well
please.
said. Well said.
Sounds a bit rehearsed.
And the.
Well, you see, we had a set of questions for Nico, but I'm gonna ask him anyway.
Rip.
I'll ask you, Brendan. Your favorite shape of pasta is
Rotini?
glass half full or empty?
Empty.
The decade you want to live in is
60s.
a fashion trend you want to die is.
Oh my god, Crocs. When will it end?
Nah, yeah, that's a good pick.
They just keep evolving.
Oscar or
No,
Stanley Cup?
Stanley Cup.
Wait, that doesn't make That was for Nico because he's an actor.
I know,
as well.
I know.
Okay, how about this?
A Grammy,
Wait,
a Grammy or a Stanley Cup.
Brendan,
Still a Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup or the love of your family and friends?
Stanley
Mm.
Cup. I lost the rest years ago.
Rap or rock?
Rock.
Rap or sandwich?
Good one.
Sandwich.
Yeah. Sandwich?
Yeah.
I was proud of that question. That
was
pairing of
fantastic.
You know, it's a tough one. I might
I
regret
was
that
so
later.
happy when you wrote that one. All right, Sam, the superlative you won in high school was.
Can you define superb, that word?
You know, like a title?
Oh, I'd say most likely to give a high five out.
Yeah.
The thing you keep telling yourself you're going to do is.
Film a sketch.
Mm,
Do a
Do
little
it.
sketch comedy thing.
Do it.
your hero is.
I got two, like Robin Williams and then Iroh from The Last Airbender. That's like, I really appreciate Iroh.
Your favorite chip flavor is.
All dressed, by far.
Netflix or nightclub?
Netflix.
Oscar or Tony?
What's a Tony?
Just pick
The
based
one-
on the names.
Oscar.
Franklin the Turtle or Arthur the Aardvark?
Franklin. That's my home guy. I like him.
All right, Harrison, here it comes. You'd most likely be arrested for
Arson.
Me too. That's what I was saying. Let's do it together.
go to the Vancouver riots, start them up again.
Okay.
Your celebrity crush is
I'm gonna say Sandra Oh, even though I'm gay.
We all love Sandra.
the most recent show you binged is
Fleabag.
coffee or tea?
Tea.
Nobel Prize or the love of your friends and family?
Both of my friends and family.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Good choice.
You
We're right
can,
here,
You can learn
bitch.
something there. Would you rather eat soup with a fork or steak with a spoon?
Soup with a fork, I like a challenge.
We want to do a segment called One Cool Thing, where you tell us what's one cool thing that you've watched, seen, or done in your life.
What's your one cool thing, Marcus?
My one cool thing in recent time or all time. I'm gonna go with all time. My one cool thing is that solo show I did when I graduated theater school.
We need to find a way to fit that into every episode, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But that's what I define my whole life by. I made a whole set out of cardboard, and it was a whole thing.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, see, because I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's my one cool thing. It was like easiest way I can describe it is like a pop-up book come to life at life scale. Cool
My
things.
one cool thing is a dance show called Betroffenheit. It's on Marquee TV. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it, but it is so cool because it's this script and these dance movements that get kind of rearranged in new scenes. So it feels like you're listening to the same text and watching the same thing over and over again, but it's in a new way every single time. And it's so amazing. Yeah, you guys should check it out.
Wow.
Okay.
That sounds so good. I have an all-time cool thing and a recent cool thing, and you're going to hate both of them. Okay.
I'm excited.
So the first cool thing is one time, New Year's after my grade 12 year, we had like a reunion grad party. And I watched this one girl. She looked at her boyfriend. She said, "Oh, I think I'm going to puke." Grabs a cup, pukes in it, and goes, "Okay." And then walks away. And that was the most badass thing. And she left it on the beer pong table. And he started running because someone almost drank out of it. He's
Oh
like,
my
"No,
God.
Victoria." That was cool. That was cool. That one right in my head. And the cool thing I've seen recently is I've been doing this thing. I refuse to get TikTok because I refuse to give the Chinese government all of my information yet. And so I've been taking like short videos of myself. Like I have one of me. I'd show it now, but it's a podcast. But I have one of me wearing one of those like white neutral masks, and it goes from black, and I flip it up, and I'm dancing to what's it called? Careless Whisper. And I've just been like watching that over and over again of myself dancing to Careless Whisper, and that's my cool thing.
Does being able to taxi whistle count?
Yes,
Hey, I'll take it.
do it.
What is that?
Oh, the
Do it
pressure.
right now.
Okay.
Go to New York. Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
that was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
So good.
Very nice.
It doesn't come in as handy as you think it would.
Because no one whistles for taxis in Canada.
Especially if I'm ever in New York, I know the first thing I'm gonna do.
My cool thing is just found out about this online. There's this thing called worm grunting, which is almost as horrifying as it sounds, where you stick like a carved piece of wood in the ground, and then you know those like weird like wooden frogs where you like run a stick over it, it makes that riveting noise. It's like a stick version of that. You stick into the ground and you make that noise, and immediately, I don't know what it is. It's like the worms like sense the vibrations and it reminds them of rainfall or something. They all immediately like crawl out of the ground and start swarming towards the direction of the stick. And people use it for like fishing if they got to get it. But I think the effect alone, come on.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Wow.
I've been very bored.
I'm so glad because I wouldn't have learned that if you weren't.
I guess my cool thing would be the recent discovery of the Animal Crossing black market. That's very beneficial if you don't want to waste all your Nook miles going to random islands trying to find your favorite villagers. You can just order them and do some black market dealing legally online. Revolutionary.
There's an Animal Crossing black market.
Oh yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
Nookstuff.org or something.
What we need in this world.
I think there's a black market, Marcus. And I don't know if it's good. I don't know if we need it in this world.
It's a
Selling like turnips and stuff.
Much better than the actual black market.
Yeah. I think we did it.
Yeah, we did our first episode.
We did the thing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Is there any social media of yours that you want people to follow, or if you don't, it's also fine.
Feel free to find us mutually on Paul is Dead Band on Instagram or Paul is Dead on Spotify and any listening services you may use.
You can find me on Instagram, and everything else is connected to it. So just look it up there at my name, Aaron Pergard.
My Instagram is samuel.madsen.
My Instagram is hrockle.
Aaron, you've got a couple shows coming up. Can you tell us about those?
I am doing marketing, managing, and graphic design for a show that comes up at the end of May called Papa Records Everything. You can look us up anywhere. We're there under Papa Records Everything. And then I am producing and performing in a show in the Vancouver Fringe, if it happens, in September. And it's a show called Isle del Arte. And it's a Commedia dell'arte show. So it's improv and theater, baby.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
And Papa Records Everything is on May 30th, I believe.
Yeah, May 30th and 31st.
There's a lot of cool people involved in that, so I'm really excited for that one.
Oh yeah, a lot of BFA, UBC BFA, and a lot of Studio 58, baby.
That's David and me.
That's them, and that's us.
Check.
You can find Papa Records Everything on Facebook and YouTube Live. We'll be linking everything in the description below, where you can also find that our theme song was made by Finn Leahy and our logo was designed by Sarah Fett.
Oh, also, subscribe on our website, sowhatpodcast.podbean.com, and on YouTube, and our Spotify and iTunes. Well, that's to be determined, so we'll put that up soon.
Thanks, everyone, for coming to the show.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having me.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Hey, David, do you know the improv game Yes Let's?
Yeah.
Well, let's end this podcast.
Yes, let's.